You deleted the last photo of yourself in abaya at exactly 2:13 in the morning. Your finger hovered over the screen for nearly a minute before pressing delete forever. The image vanished into darkness, and for the first time in years, you felt strangely light. For months, you had been exhausted. Exhausted of entering university classrooms and feeling every pair of eyes quietly measuring you before you even spoke. Exhausted of hearing people say things like, "You're too smart to dress so traditional." Exhausted of pretending those comments didn't cut deep into your chest every single time. You just wanted to exist normally. Not as the Muslim girl. Not as the religious one. Just normal. So slowly, piece by piece, you changed yourself. First came the lighter makeup, then the tighter jeans, then uncovering a little more hair each week until one day the scarf stayed folded in your closet. And the world rewarded you instantly. Your classmates suddenly invited you everywhere. People who once ignored you now smiled at you in hallways. One professor even told you, "You seem more confident now." You smiled back politely. But every compliment felt strange, almost poisonous. Because deep down, you knew they weren't praising your confidence. They were praising your transformation. For the first few months, you convinced yourself you were finally free. Until the messages started arriving. The first one appeared taped to your apartment door after midnight. No name, no number, just a small brown envelope. Inside was a photograph. A picture of you sitting inside a coffee shop earlier that day, laughing while scrolling through your phone. Someone had scratched black ink over your uncovered hair using a thick marker. At the bottom were 5 words written carefully. You forgot who protected you. Your stomach twisted violently. You rushed outside into the hallway, but it was empty. The elevator silent. The stairs dark. Nobody there. You barely slept that night. The next week, another envelope arrived. This time the photo showed you walking through the mall wearing headphones. Again, black ink had been drawn around your head like a shadowy veil. Another sentence waited underneath. The world loves you empty. Fear slowly poisoned your entire life. You stopped posting online. Stopped going out alone. Started checking over your shoulder constantly. Every reflection in every shop window felt dangerous. And the worst part? A small piece inside you wondered if the messages were true. One rainy evening, nearly 3 weeks later, everything finally shattered. The city streets were drowning beneath heavy rain. Cars hissed across wet roads while thunder rolled above the buildings. You hurried toward your apartment with your hood pulled tightly over your head when you heard footsteps behind you. Slow, steady, close. Your heartbeat exploded. You turned a corner. The footsteps followed. You crossed the street. They crossed too. Panic burned through your chest, so hard it became anger. You were tired of feeling hunted, tired of being afraid. Suddenly, you spun around and stormed into a narrow alley beside a closed bakery. Rain poured from rooftops in violent streams. You pressed yourself against the wall and waited. 3 seconds later, the figure appeared. Without thinking, you grabbed their coat and shoved them backward against the bricks. "Who are you?" you screamed. "Why are you doing this to me?" The stranger gasped. A hood slipped backward, and your entire body froze. It was an old man. Thin, pale, late 60s maybe. His gray beard trembled slightly beneath the rain. But what truly stopped your breathing was his face. You recognized him instantly from one faded family photograph hidden inside your grandmother's closet years ago. "Uncle Kareem," you whispered. "The man your family never mentioned. The man who disappeared decades ago after leaving religion completely. The man everyone treated like he had died." Tears mixed with rain on his face. "I tried to warn you," he said quietly. Your grip loosened. "What?" 25 years ago, he continued. "I wanted the same thing you want now. I was tired of being judged for my faith, tired of being different. So I erased every visible part of who I was. At first, the world celebrated me." He laughed bitterly. "They told me I was modern, brave, free." Lightning flashed above the alley. "But eventually," he whispered, "nothing was enough anymore." He looked directly into your eyes. "They wanted me to drink so I could prove I wasn't extreme. They mocked my Arabic name. They laughed when I refused certain things. Little by little, I destroyed pieces of myself just to keep people comfortable." Rainwater dripped from his eyelashes. "And do you know what happened after all that?" Silence. "They still never accepted me." The alley suddenly felt freezing cold. Kareem slowly reached into his pocket and pulled out another photograph. This one showed you from behind, walking across campus with your uncovered hair moving in the wind. I saw myself inside you, he said. The same confusion, the same desperation to belong. His voice cracked painfully. I sent those pictures because I didn't know how else to wake you up before you lost yourself completely. You stared at him speechlessly. I thought removing faith from my appearance would finally make me feel human, he whispered. Instead, I spent 20 years feeling invisible to Allah and never fully accepted by people either. The rain softened around you both. For the first time, he no longer looked frightening. He looked broken, completely broken. I lost my family, he said quietly. I lost my peace. And worst of all, I lost myself. A deep silence settled between you. Then he stepped back slowly. You think freedom means escaping judgment, he said. But people will always judge you. The question is whose opinion matters enough to shape your soul. He turned away. Wait, you called. He stopped. Your voice trembled. Then why should someone wear it? For several seconds, he didn't answer. Finally, without turning around, he spoke softly. Not for culture, not for people, not for fear, only for Allah, because every other reason eventually breaks. Then he disappeared into the rain. You stood alone in the alley for what felt like forever. When you finally reached home, your clothes were soaked completely through. You walked silently into your bedroom and stared at yourself in the mirror. Mascara smudged beneath your eyes, hair wet against your cheeks, exhaustion carved deeply into your face. You looked lost. Slowly, you opened the highest shelf of your closet. Buried beneath old notebooks and winter clothes was a soft beige kamar folded carefully from years ago. Your fingers trembled as you picked it up. The fabric felt unbelievably light, yet somehow heavier than anything you had ever carried. For months, you thought freedom meant becoming someone the world would finally applaud. But standing there in the silence of your room, another truth finally settled deep inside your chest. Real peace is not found in pleasing people, because people change their standards every day. Real peace begins the moment your heart stops performing for creation and starts living for the Creator.